Good morning. Today is the 16th of July 2024 and I'm going to go through my pre-trading watch list and pick up some levels for today. Before we start, as always, let's see what could move the market. We had retail sales come in, which we saw a bit of a move, but it's kind of neutral candle. Retail sales 10 a.m. we've got some business inventories. We've got Fed speaking at 2:45 and then aftermarket, so that's it. So just be wary 10 and 2:45 if you're in a trade, because those events could potentially move the market. Okay, so let's look at levels for today. Pretty much back to where we were yesterday. We were about here and we were exactly that place again. Big move up, hit our level, we was watching and rejected. It was a great rejection if you're using a 15-minute chart. So pretty much watching the same levels. I'm not sure what that's doing. Oh, I don't know, I just pressed on my keyboard. Okay, so let's just grab my pen. So my first level I'm watching is 57.10 rejection. Potentially we can watch also for the break and retest of this area. We've got a bit of a level from 57.18.75, not much volume in that area, but that's all-time high, so we can also watch that area for potential rejection. Really want to go with a trend entry. We're still in this big uptrend, and it's done it again. I'm not sure why it does that. Create clip. There must be something on my machine which responds to my shortcut. Ignore that. Okay, I'll work out what program's installed itself recently. So if we pull back down into this region, the pre-market low, yesterday's low, I'm looking for another bounce, and that's around 56.65, 56.70 area for a bounce. Also, if we lose that level, then the next bounce area will be down here, and that's where our point of control and lots of volume is. Bit of a void, less volume in this area. If we lose this area, we could also watch for a rejection. Yeah, there you go. I'm not sure what caused this. Give me 2 seconds. This is really annoying. I'm not sure what application it is. Is it Zoom? Ah, so Zoom updated yesterday. Okay, so I have to clean my screen. Just taking over my shortcut I'm using. Okay, so that's my levels really I'm watching today. I'm watching for a trend continuation, pull back into yesterday's low, pre-market low for a bounce, and then I'm looking for a break and retest long over the pre-market high. That's another level. You can see we're kind of in that region right now. So that is 5700. Nice round, nice psychological number as well. So break and retest of 5700. And then we've got a rejection up in this level. We can see we've been there once, twice. I know we poked through, we came back round, we retested it then, and then rejected. So I quite like that area for a rejection. If we break through this area, then I'm looking for a break and retest long as well. Okay, next up is SPY. SPY pretty much the same. Break and retest of pre-market high, kind of where we were earlier until we broke out. So watching 562.90 break and retest. A rejection where we rejected 3 times before at 563.65, and then bounces at the pre-market low down to yesterday's low area, so 559.60 to 560.50, and that's it really. SPX, we're right in between the two main levels we're watching, so watch for a rejection at 5700, or we can watch for a bounce down at 57.76. 55.76. We had a lot of action there recently. You can see we came in, we rejected it, and then we gapped up, held it, gapped up, came back, held that level. So if we come back down into that area, I'm looking for a bounce. NQ. So NQ is looking a little bit weaker than ES, but we are still holding this 200 moving average and a 50. So this area is a little, could say a little tiny squeeze area. If we hold above these two levels, we can look for the break and retest over pre-market high, which it will be a good long into yesterday's high or level we've been watching for a few days, 20,745. So these are the targets if we can go long. I do quite like NQ long, so I'm going to keep an eye on that. Potentially try and find a break and retest over the pre-market. And I'm just putting in an alert. So I'll take a look at the chart when we get to that point. And that's it really. If we come back down, I still like the long entry at yesterday's low. And we've got a bounce area down here at 2350 area as well. This region here, you can see we held it, tried to break through and then bounce. And it was the ceiling, then became the floor and still is the floor. QQQ. Same levels as yesterday, almost identical levels to yesterday. We're watching pre-market low for the bounce, maybe down to yesterday's low. Break and retest for pre-market high. I still quite like that area there. Let's just mark that in. And then 500 is a psychological number, and I like the rejection at that point as well. Crude oil is selling off quite nicely, but we're right in this bounce area now. Look at that. So we've had this level, these levels been in place for a long time, and we couldn't have got any closer really. Came back in, bounced at exactly 80.22. I had 80.27 for a bounce area. So this is, if you caught this in the pre-market, perfect. If we're going to continue to trend down, we've got this region here for a rejection, 81 down to 80, 80, that area. So let's just put a level there at 81, so we can watch that area for a rejection. That's basically rejecting into these two pivots. There's an area of confluence as well, and we've got a big amount of volume, and the point of control is immediately above as well. So this area here, so this area here is our rejection area, so let's keep an eye on that. So yeah, so we've got 81, but maybe we may be able to push up a little bit into the point of control, but that would be our stop up here. If we go above that area, we can probably look for a bit of a trend rejection. We've got this new channel forming. Let's just clone that and see what happens if we put it down there. Look at that, almost exactly on. Let's extend it that way. So this is our channel we're currently in right now. So we can watch for plays between these channels, rejections up here, bounces down here. So remember that. Okay, next up is gold. And this is on a bit of a bull run. Let's just tighten this up a bit. I like looking at the most recent pivots, but probably about there. It's just a guide. Came in, we rejected that point, that place yesterday. Look at that perfect rejection. And when did we do that? What time was that? That was in the aftermarket. So came in, rejected perfectly at midday yesterday. And look, that level was in place before. We talked about that in the pre-market, and we came back into it again today. So look, that level was absolutely spot on, and that was based on areas of confidence over here. Bottoms of, you can see over here mainly. So at the tops of these pivots, bottoms of these pivots. I'm looking for the most touches of candles to kind of create a bit of a supply zone. And yeah, look at that, exactly on. So that's, hopefully somebody took that level. I didn't, I missed that. When was that? That was yesterday at midday. We can watch for a bounce down in a trend entry again. So kind of like a bounce down here, 24.26, maybe up to 24.32. This region we can watch for a bounce, same levels as yesterday really, or we can watch for the break and retest over 24.45. And I quite like long right now. And what's above, not as much volume, so it won't take much for it to drive up into the highs. Is it all-time highs? No, we've got this massive double top there, to put that in place as well, that area. just want to mark off this area here, and that's where our next area of supply is. If we do get out that area, we can watch that area for rejection, but let's try and keep with the trend on this one. So I'd like to pull back into this trend line, maybe back down into 24, 26, or we can watch for a tightening of this zone. Let's draw it in. So we've kind of got this pattern, and we've been going up, up, and then maybe watch for a narrow break and retest long. I quite like that, or the rejection, break and retest short. So that's the two levels we can watch for. Next up is RTY, which is the Russell 2000. Again, went far off that level there, came into it, tried to poke through, rejected. We're kind of right in that area now. What's that level from? Let's go to the daily. That level is from this area here, and you can see we've got an area of confluence, big area, lots of touches of pivots, bottom pivots, top pivots, and again, let's go back to the hourly because that's where I've drawn it in. It's came in and it's got to that area, so I quite like the rejection in this area. It's going to be quite hard trying to get through that. We are pretty extended as well, so potentially watch for the break below yesterday's high. That's going to be, you know what, it's a hard one. We've got to kind of write down, and we need to get below the 50 moving average to look for rejections really. So we could scalp a rejection, but until we get over this level, we've got quite a lot of confidence and resistance above, big zone of it. So we could just eat time off, go sideways. So let's come up with some levels. Okay, if we pull back down into the 50 moving average, I quite like it for the bounce, which is yesterday's low, and I'll also consider pre-market low for a bounce as well. It's not comfortable going short when it's so strong right now, but we could look for break below that pivot, but we are coming into a couple of decent levels. It's going to be hard, but maybe a scalp short, but the bounce on that 50 moving average is probably the best location for the bounce, and that level is 21.93. So this is an area I want to watch for the bounce, same area as watching yesterday. YM, don't think it's putting in all-time highs. Not quite yet. That's all-time high there. That's, oh, is it? Hang on. Let's just go out on the weekly. Yeah, so that's all-time highs. So let's just mark that off as an area of. I just want to mark that zone, just so we know. So that's our area we can watch for potential rejection. I quite like the bounce trend entry again. We've got our uptrend. Let's just draw that in there. So that's our trend, kind of running up on the 50 moving average as well. So I quite like the bounce down here. Pre-market low, yesterday low. Got a big area of confidence there as well. Excuse me. If we eat a bit of time off the clock, maybe come back a bit, a break and retest over pre-market high. But we are coming into all-time highs there, unknown territory. So we just have to play that by ear. If we pull back down, I quite like the bounce. Let's just zoom out a bit. Oh, I've done it again. Right, I'm going to remove zoom because I don't want zoom to do that. Okay, so I do quite like the bounce down here at 40,000. Not only is it a pivot, lots of touches, top of pivot, bottoms of pivots, it's also 40,000, big psychological number. So this is the main area. I've got an alert waiting for us to pull back down. I'll be watching for a bounce. We are pretty extended. We're miles away from the 200 moving average, extended from the 50 moving averages on this trend line, which you can't quite see. And I quite like the bounce down here, and maybe look for rejections into all-time high. And then lastly, Bitcoin. And then we look at some order flow to see if there's anything unusual setting up before the market opens. Bitcoin's broken that pivot key area. This is the main area I quite like for rejection, 66,000, 67,000. Are we putting in a potential head and shoulders? Left shoulder, head, right shoulder, neckline in that direction. Who knows, but we can watch for a bounce in this region, a bounce off of pre-market low. And if we can't hold it, break down, we can look for the break and retest, and that will be a head and shoulders pattern confirmed. And then quite like the bounce in this region, 58, 59,000. So we'll see how we go. That's it for Bitcoin. Let's go back to ES and look at the order flow. For coming into these levels, we've got one level we're coming up to now. That's the break and retest, and then the rejection, the rejection area 57.07. Then that's when I'll look at the order flow. I try not to look at it until I get to an hourly level, and then I'm looking for divergence. I'm looking for clues in the candles that there is a reversal coming, like weakness from the buyers, or if we're looking for a bounce, weakness from the sellers, and lots of buying pressure. Okay, thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button, and I'll be back tomorrow at 9 AM Eastern time. On the other stream I've got my order flow, which is what we just looked at, so definitely check that out as well. That's the other live stream running right now. Okay, thanks for watching.